Alright, welcome back to Cosmic Reach. This will be the second video on this game. I'm recording this the same day as the previous one. I wanted to do more with lighting. So I am here in a new world. I deleted the old one, and I kind of dug out this little flat area down here. And so let's get started. So last time, I think in the video I mentioned that maybe this magma block would have a different lighting than the red lamp, which I'm just calling it a lamp for now. It might actually be labeled as something else later. But if we move to dark night so that we can still see something. Oh, and another thing is if you look at a block and you push the middle mouse button as like a pick block function, I didn't know this existed before, but it'll pop up in your hotbar there. So let's place down this magma volcano block, I guess I'll call it volcano block. And that has a red value. And then if we place down the red lamp nearby, it's the same red value. So there is no difference there. They're the same color. And let's get rid of that. And before I was also mentioning how I was thinking that you can combine different colors and the light values will kind of be additive. And I was correct about that. So if we have R and we have G for green, and then we have B for blue, which will do this one. So we have RGB, and if you know anything about computer graphics, you should be able to come up with what these different combinations should make. So red, and then over here I'm going to put, actually let's change to pitch dark so it's more obvious. We're going to put a green block right here. And what does this do? Red and green should make yellow, which it does. And it's more obvious if I go into no clip mode and fly up. You can see we have red on the left, we have green on the right, and in the middle we have this diamond of yellow. And so next up we can do green and blue. And blue is a little bit weird with graphics because it seems like blue itself doesn't have much, I don't know what you would call it, maybe luminescence, I guess, or just brightness. But yeah, so see how it kind of looks like the red and the green are expanding farther than the blue? I don't think that they actually are. I think it's just a property of the color blue that makes it kind of less intense. So it just kind of tricks the eyeballs. And if green and blue should mix into cyan, which it does. It's a little bit harder to see than the yellow, but there's a diamond right there of cyan, which is a lighter blue color. And actually we have those colors in our inventory here. So if we look here, we have this yellow, which is going to be the same color as what's in this diamond here. And on the right side here we have cyan, and that's this block right here. And we can actually test that. So if we grab the cyan block and we grab the yellow block, so watch how this color right here doesn't change that much. See, it's the same yellow color. And if we do the cyan, it's the same cyan color, just a little more intense. If we were to put the blue closer to the green, now you can really see the cyan. And it actually kind of, it's a little bit weird because it's changing this block that's originally supposed to be dark blue, and it's making it cyan. So if I get rid of this block right here, you'll see that the blue block on my right and the green block on my left will actually change back closer to the original colors that they were. See, so everything kind of changes. So you can get a lot of funky effects combining light in that way. You just have to kind of be aware of what you're doing when you're casting light on an object that isn't white light, because it changes the color of the object itself. So it's a little bit weird to wrap your head around. So we've got the yellow, we've got the cyan, and then the last thing we're missing is magenta. And to make magenta, you need, let's see, you need red and blue. So over by this red one, I'm going to place another blue block. We'll place it right there. And you can see in the middle, we get that diamond of magenta. And if we grab the, let's see, which one is it? This one, magenta block. we can prove it by putting that right there, and it doesn't change at all. So pretty cool. You can combine colors in that way. And let's see, if I grab the white block, that's just a white light, and it'll, yeah, it kind of takes everything over because, like I said, I think the colors are additive. So if you're adding white light to everything, then it's just going to make everything white. It's just going to return it to its natural color. And I guess I'll go ahead and change this to space day, and we're going to break these blocks. And I'm going to throw out everything I have here. And then I'm going to place down the ones that we didn't make artificially. So here's white light, here's red light, here's yellow light, or no, orange light, so I'm going to take that one. We have yellow light, lime green, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take this one. Let's see here. Which other ones can't we make? So we have cyan, we have blue, we have the purple color, or dark purple, I guess you want to call that. I guess maybe indigo, and then purple. So we'll take the indigo, we'll take the purple, and that's magenta, which we created. And then we have this one here. Bam. So I suppose that isn't, I mean, it's supposed to be orange, I think, but it's a little bit off orange. Like it starts orange here, and then as the lighting moves onward, it gets combined with the darkness a little bit, and it turns into kind of a red-orange color. And then here you have your lime green block, which combined with the darkness as it goes out turns into more of a forest lush green. Pretty interesting. And then you have this one here, which is this one right here. It's right next to the, so it's between green and blue, but it's more on the green side. And actually, that lime green and this green look very, very similar. They look very, very similar. I guess if you look at the ring right around the block, this one is just kind of a darker green, and this one's a little bit more on the blue side, as it should be. But when the light spreads out from there, they really don't look any different. At least to me, they don't. So I wouldn't be surprised if that changes in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if any of this changes in the future, because it's going to. But yeah, that's pretty obviously not a good difference there. So there's the indigo. And this really also looks like a blue. It looks very similar to the blue. And then if we put down a purple block, that one, okay, yeah, there's definitely some weird stuff going on here. So you can see that right around the purple block, it is purple. And then as it combines with the darkness, it turns into that indigo blue color again. So kind of the same problem as these two greens, only I guess it's less of a problem because there's more purple here than, like the difference between this blue and this purple is a little bit more than the difference between these two greens. Yeah, this is definitely going to have to be tweaked a little bit because some of these colors aren't looking too great. And then we have this one right here, which is between the magenta and the red. So this is like a hot pink, I guess you could say. So pretty interesting how when you look at what some of these colors are supposed to be, they're correct when the lighting is just around the block. But then they kind of diverge as the light goes outward, and it turns into something else. Alright, so the next thing I have to show is how far light travels. So it looks like, based on the debug info, that the highest light value is 15, and the lowest is 0, which makes up a total of 16 different light values. And if we walk really close to this, this white lamp here, you can see that we get lighting of 14, 14, 14. And it's similar to how the block base air label right above that is pointing at where my feet are. So right now my feet are on air, right above this stone block. It's the same thing with the lighting. So if I was to go into no clip mode with F4 and then walk into this light, Now my feet are directly on the light source, so it says 15, 15, 15. And each block outside of this light source goes down by 1 light level. And if you go diagonal, the light decreases in Manhattan distance, which is only the cardinal directions. So 1 diagonal direction is actually 2 lighting levels. So for example, here we have 15, 15, 15, and then if we walk diagonally, we have 13, 13, 13. And if you walk in a cardinal direction, you'll see you have 15, 15, 15, and then it only minuses 1 to 14, 14, 14, and then going up makes it 13, 13, 13. So that explains that. So light doesn't travel diagonally as powerfully as it does in the cardinal directions. Let's get out in no-clip mode, and I've made a little path here to show you that if you have a light source right here, you can expect 14 blocks in the 4 directions for the light to reach above 0. So right here we have 14, 14, 14, 13, 13, 13, and it goes all the way down to here, which is 1, 1, 1, and then you have 0, 0, 0, which is no light, no added lighting at all. And it's a little bit strange because if you look on screen, it actually looks like the lighting ends with this block right here, but that's technically still 3, 3, 3. So there is still a little bit of lighting, I suppose, being calculated with these 2 blocks. Visually there isn't, and I don't think it's just my eyes. I think visually there actually isn't, but I don't know, I could be wrong. And even if we change it to pitch dark, oh, you know what, okay, now that it's pitch dark, I was wrong, I guess. Now that it's pitch dark, there is a little bit of light shed on it. So you can see there's 2, 2, 2 here, and you can just barely make out this last block, and that's 1, 1, 1, and to the left of this is pitch black, and that would be 0, 0, 0. And yeah, same principle applies diagonally. So in the cardinal directions you have 14 blocks that you can still see something, and then in the diagonal directions you have 7, which is exactly half of that, because every diagonal block, if you remember, this goes in Manhattan distance, so every diagonal is actually 2 lighting levels. So if the cardinal directions are 14, diagonal is going to be divided by 2, which is going to get you 7. So you have 13, 13, 13, 11, 11, 11, 9, 9, 9, and let's take a cardinal direction, 8, 8, 8, 7, 7, 7, 6, 6, 6, 5, 5, 5, 3, 3, 3, and then you get to 1, 1, 1, and you can't see anything beyond this block right here. And so that's where you get into the zeros. And let's change it back to space day. And same thing, even if the landscape is naturally lit, the artificial lighting value in the debug info still applies. So even though all this looks the same, you still get different lighting values up until it visually starts looking different, which is about right here. And that's because the lighting is just a mathematical number. It's just a calculation of the distance between some block and the nearest light source, which would be that white lamp. The reason why all of the terrain right here is lit up, even though we have a lighting of 0, 0, 0, is, like I said, that lighting value is just a calculation of your distance from a light source, which is pretty far from us right now. But all these blocks are actually being lit with something that we call ambient lighting. And ambient lighting is the natural brightness of a graphic without any light source interacting with it. So just by default you have like the default texture for the stone is a little bit brighter than what it looks like on the screen right now. This is a little bit darkened than what you might see like in a .png file. In a .png file, this stone is going to look brighter, but the ambient lighting, let's say, for this might be 0.7. So this stone texture is going to be 0.7, the original brightness of what's in that .png file. And that's what ambient lighting is. And I haven't actually figured out what that sky label is in the debug info. Pitch dark is still 15. If I walk closer to this light source, it doesn't change from 15 until... And there's a 14 right there. And there's a 14. So I really don't know. I think that's a broken value. And I think we'll see that change in the future. Alright, one last thing I wanted to show off. So in this setup I have the Dark Night lighting enabled. I have log blocks, and I have a green lantern on top, a green lamp, and I'm going to use the grass block to make leaves, I guess, since leaves aren't in the game yet. And you can see as I place down these grass blocks, it changes the lighting on the floor. So as you can recall, the lighting is between 0 and 15, so there are 16 total values. If I place a grass block here, the lighting on this side of the logs is going to get a little bit darker. And you can see that here. You see that little shadow that pops up? The reason why that happens is because the lighting has to wrap around this block to get to the ground. So instead of starting here and just going immediately down to the floor to light up this block, now that this grass block is here, it has to go around it. So if the lighting is coming from this side, it has an extra block to traverse instead of just being able to go straight down. And you can see that effect here, here, and here. So the lighting has to travel a lot farther now. It has to wrap around these cubes in order to get down to the floor, which is why the lighting is so much less now. And if we close off the top, then you get this interesting little lighting effect. I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, but lighting, it looks like, can seep through the seams here of blocks, and we can cover those up even more and make a nice little, well, I guess it's not that nice. It actually looks kind of buggy. A little pattern there. You can get kind of this interesting effect if you want to have a bunch of trees that light up different colors that are only somewhat lit. Alright, and just for the fun of it, I'm sure you could make more interesting tree designs with lights in them than this. This is just a little experiment. But this is the space day lighting. You can kind of see the lighting inside the trees there from each different lamp color, which is a little bit weird, but that's just how it is. And then let's switch over to Dark Night, and you get this. Pretty cool. And then you switch over to Pitch Dark, and you kind of just get these really kind of beautiful looking canopies, these treetops. And you could also, I suppose you could make little, like a little walkway. Oh look, this is awesome. So we've got this little walkway of lights. You can have a little path that runs through your trees, and all the treetops are glowing and looking epic. So let's actually put these white lights in the ground. And yeah, so you have a lit up floor, and you have some very pretty looking treetops. This is just the beginning of what we can do with lighting, and I think I'm going to be building a lot more interesting structures here on the moon of blocks and beautiful lighting. And I'll see you next time.